In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create a Discord server based on whatever you want it to be, whether it's for YouTube, Twitch, a community, or just some friends. I'm going to be basing this off just as a little small community, whether you can add your Twitch, YouTube, or friends to it only. This is just going to be this will be the first video on this tutorial channel. I'll be doing videos like this more frequently, hopefully. But overall, we just need to get straight into it. So to create a Discord server, just go straight to the list down the left hand side and you'll see the plus icon. Select the plus icon, add a server. Discord have updated this so that it's easier to find which one you want to do. So you can either create your own server by just going to create your own, or you can use the templates which are provided by Discord themselves. For gaming, friends, study group, artists, creators, or clubs, including local community. Or you can join a server here, which you just include either the short code, the whole link code. You can also include discord.gg/the code, but that does not here. And you can also do partnered codes, which is like discord.gg/ a YouTube creator code that may be not unverified. The link will be there for everyone to use as a partner, because partners can have a link which doesn't expire. That's what I was trying to say. Very bad to the start of the video, but hey ho, let's continue. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to create my own community. Let's just call this ImageJosh18's tutorials, because this is my name on Discord. So yeah, tutorials. I am making this for server for a club or community. I'm going to leave this unchecked just because I've not actually done this yet, so I want to figure out what it does first. It's probably just something extra add-on, I don't know. Or it enables community mode automatically, I'm not sure. But we're just going to create server. So it's come at the top, and as you can see, there's nothing in the server. You're normally dragged into a VC, or a voice chat as it's called, but for some reason it's not done that. This is where you normally get your messages sent through. Basic messages when someone joins. Discord will say, oh, someone so and so just joined the server, say hi, or something, I don't know. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the role section. So we're going to select the top menu, the drop down menu, server settings, roles, and we're going to select this plus icon. This gives you a role that says new role. Here you just type in any role. So I'm going to create a few roles based on what you can do with them, and then I'll go through the settings of what I advise for people to do. So we're going to have owner or admin. Let's just do simply admin, because admins are also owners. Save this. We're going to have a moderator. Save this. And we're going to have member, and save this. So we've got our three main roles. If you have bots on the server, I suggest if you have multiple bots to have a role that says bots, which I would normally put below moderator or above moderator. If once we get through to the settings, I'll explain how that will work, because depend on the scenario of who manages the roles. Obviously bots have admin, so you don't want moderators having admin if you only want them to have mod, which will mean that the bot role will have to go above the moderators if they've got managed permissions to manage the roles, because they can give themselves the role. May be more confusing, I'll explain this more in a later video, but for now let's just go with the role. So for at everyone, immediately go to the at everyone, right down to the bottom, disable everything that you don't want people to do, except for like send messages. Actually, send messages, okay, this is where you could decide. I'll let you decide that one. Links, you don't want people to send links. This is the most important one, the at everyone. Don't leave this enabled for the at everyone or for members. preferably not even moderators, depending on what server you're doing it for. If this is for a friend server, that's up to you. If it's for a community, you may want to leave this disabled. So turn this off. And just so you know, they've updated the Discord platform for this area so that you could signify which is on or off by the check mark. So check mark is the green, so it's on, and the X, which is grey, which means off. It never used to be like this, but this helps signify whether it's on or off. Just disable everything else that you don't necessarily need. Video, most people don't need that. Speak's fine, and that's that. Just to know that I forgot to do this at the start, which I normally do. I would normally go through the everyone before creating the roles. So when you're creating a server, go through the everyone before you do the roles, because what will happen is once you've done the everyone, it will mimic and copy what the other roles do. So if I go to the member, everything that I've just turned off is on, because I haven't turned it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly delete them and re-add them in. Okay, so I've managed to fix the roles up. The role permissions are now synced with everyone. The one thing that you may not know is that on every role, if you have administration, I don't know if it's what specific setting it is, but I know from administration, if you have the admin in the server, if you select the 3 dots, you can see the server as this role, which I'll show in a later date. Copy the role ID, which is a bunch of numbers related to this, related to the role. So you can specify the role if it's not taggable, which I'll show in a later date once we figure it out more. And you can delete the role from here as well, or you can delete the role from the bottom of the server, which is delete role name. Here you can also clear the permissions, which I could have done earlier, which would have made more sense, but you know. But I'm going to head and click Save Changes. So now we've got the basics. So right off the bat, we can enable display members separately. Check that on all roles. Admin, depending on what you want, you can have everyone to be able to mention this role. Mods, I would suggest turning it on, so if any issues that happen, you can enable this. Admins can have administration depending on who you know. If you're gonna have people, you're most likely gonna have people you only know, or you can have yourself as an admin only. But I recommend probably having only people that you honestly trust the server with. If you don't trust them with the server, then don't give them this role, because it's just never going to work out. With administration, you do not need to enable anything else on this server. All of this is controlled by administration if it's turned on. So if your admin is turned on, don't go and check everything, because there's really no need for that. It's just going to be more of a problem when you come to permissions if you disable the admin on a later date for some unknown reason. Moderator, the role is a different role, however. For this one, you can enable different things. Don't enable administrators for moderators, because as you can see, if you shorten down the administrator name on the setting title, admin is what it is. Admin is the role. You want to keep them together. Don't have admin on moderator, because that's never going to work. But anything besides that, it's up to you. Or you can enable it, but it's up to you. So viewer audit logs, viewing the audit logs, which is this tab right here. I would say yes to turn that on, because if something happens in the server, they're able to see what's actually happening with Discord logs. Manage server, no, because that manages the server name and region, which is where the closest to where the server will be based. So if you're in America, you'd click base it in the America time zone, which would be like the where it's something to do with the microphone. So when you join a voice chat, you can hear them better, because it's the distance of how close you are to the server, or where the server is based. It's based on where the server is, basically. Manage roles, maybe depending on how this is. If you've got extra roles below member or above member, depending on how you lay the roles out, you can give other people roles. So that's up to you. You can turn that on if you want moderators to be able to manage people's roles. So if it's a mute, you can give them a mute, but obviously you can do that with the bot by doing the commands. I'll show this at a later date. Manage members, however. this is something, no, manage channels, this is something you don't want them to do because they're supposed to moderate the server, not manage the channels. That's not their part of their job. Kicking members, I would allow this, depending on who you know. Remember, whoever you give moderators to is a person you wish to keep the server under control. Don't give someone that you only know for like 7 days or a month, or someone you don't speak to on a frequent basis, as this can cause problems throughout the server for people who do not like members in the server, or people who have they have something going on, they're not very happy and they just take it on the server. You don't want that. Ban members, that's just your choice. You can either enable it or disable this. This is preferably enabled when you got a lot of people in the server. If you've not got a lot, you don't need to enable. Invites, again, this is one you can turn on or off. If you want to have a single invite link, I suggest leaving this off, just because you don't want to have multiple links and getting lost with where the links are going. If you want to keep them under control, leave this off for everything except for admin, but that's obviously done by the admin privileges. Manage nicknames. This is where mods can manage their other people's nicknames. I would turn this on in theory, just because you don't want people having their not safe for work names in a server that has younger people in it. So if you've got younger people in it, give them this permission if you trust them, because they can remove the name or ask them to change it based on how they feel with the name. This all despite on how the names are put as by the user themselves. The nickname is something that you don't want people mainly to change themselves anyway. So if it's disabled for members to change their own nicknames, you don't need to enable this because they can't change the nickname. It's pointless having it on. Manage nicknames. Basically, this is where members can change their nicknames of other members. No, these two are very confusing sometimes with the meaning. No, this is where they can change their own one. Okay, I flipped it around. This is where they can manage them. This is where they can change it. So moderators can have this one on, not this one, depending on if they want to change their own one. I assume that if this one's on, this one's automatically on, depending on how that works. I'm not sure. Anyway, besides that, we've got manage emojis. You can enable that. That's just for fun. That staff can add emojis to the server. Manage webhooks, which is basically bots. I don't suggest that. I only suggest admins are doing that. Read the text channel and see the voice channels. This is left on most of the time anyway. Send messages, yes. Do not enable TTS messages, as that is text to speech, and that gets very annoying in servers, and I don't recommend it. Manage messages. This is mainly one of the things mods do, so enable this. Links, depending on what server you're going for, on what people are in there, with what activity happens, this is customizable. Read message history, yes, you want mods to be able to read history. This one, turn it off, because you don't want everyone being mentioned or a roles being mentioned or anything like that. But for mods, you can leave that on or off. That's just customizable. If you've got a lot of roles or a lot's going on, you can enable this if you want. That's just your decision. But overall, I wouldn't turn it on unless you know who's in it. External emojis. This is emojis from other servers or emojis that are like animated or something like that. So you can enable that, which I will do just because I want to. Add reactions, yes. Voice. Connect, speak, yes. Video, not necessary, because that's where they can show their desktop and screen. They can talk to an admin about that in the future if necessary. Mute members, yes. If it's abused, turn it off and deal with it by an administration only. Deafen members, I don't enable this unless someone's obviously you don't want them hearing something, which would be very rude just to deafen someone, or if someone's talking about them, which is nice, but there we go. Or you want to get two sides of a story, but you don't want them to complain about each other. That's another thing this definitely can do. It prevents people from hearing two sides of a conversation when the staff member's trying to deal with it. Move members, you can turn that on. Voice, use of voice activity. This is where you can, if it's disabled, you got to use to push to talk. So if you disable it, you got to press a button on the keyboard. Or if you're on a phone, you would have to press the phone button on the phone. I'm not sure how that works. And priority speak is only a thing for people who need to get their voice out clearly without being interrupted. Mods don't necessarily have this, so we're all done with that. So save changes for that. Members, pretty basic. You don't really need any changes. Nothing's ever actually needed in this one anyway. Just based on the everyone. So we can leave this. Before I actually do leave this, let's go through this. So we've got the overview, which is the overview of the server itself. So I'm in Europe, so server region will be Europe. This is what I'm saying for the voice activity, with how close you are to where this is based in. So if you click change, you can change it to anywhere of these. So you've got all of these options. So if you want to have a look right now, pause the video and have a look at what you can choose, which region you're in, which will based on the quality of the audio, based on how far people are away from you, depending on where you're located, obviously. You can change the image icon. I'm not going to go into this because obviously it brings up files, and I'm not happy with showing files on my desktop. And I really am not going to go into the editor and try to blur this out for no reason. So I'm not going to open that up. But when you click on this, you'll get your Explorer open, and you go through files and select the files. The voice activity or inactive channel. This is where people who are inactive for a period of time. So if you select the voice channel, this is just an example. You can select the inactive timeout. So after 1 minute, they go into this channel. 5 minutes, 10, 15, 30, 1 hour. So if someone's inactive or they've gone to the bathroom or the restroom, depending on how you know it as, for 15 minutes, then you can select 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes they'll be put into the VC that's allocated to the AFK, which is away from keyboard. So that's basically what that would be. I'm going to disable this to prevent confusion. System message channel. So like I said at the start of the video, the general chat is the only chat that we've got right now. So when someone joins the server, they'll get greeted by Discord, the Discord server itself, and boosts are also located here as well, so you can leave them on. That's just up to you. But this is where if you want to type in a welcome channel, which I'll do soon. I'm just going to go through the basics right now for this video. So this is just the basics of stuff and what you need to know. Voice, default notification settings. I always suggest to have it only mentions, so people aren't getting pinged constantly. Save the changes here, and we're done for this. Roles, we've been through that. Emojis, this is where people can manage the emojis. So emojis in the server will be placed here. You get up to 50 emojis unless you get server boosts. You click the upload button, you select the emojis, and it's got to be within this frame of 250 kilobytes, I think this is, and basically you can read this to find out how that works. I'm not going to go into that for this video. Moderation, never have it as unrestricted because anyone can join with an unverified account. This is where raids happen. Always have it on at least low, preferably medium. I suggest high. These three are the ones I suggest. The higher you go, the better chance of moderation it's going to take. This one, not everyone has a verified phone number on Discord unless it's two-factor authentication, most likely. So unless it's like an 18 Discord server, which not many servers are, or this is a server where you only want people who are 18 for like 18 plus games or whatnot, and you want them to be able to have a verified phone number, because obviously most people have a verified phone number who is 18 plus most of the time, I would assume. So you can enable that, and people who don't have a verified phone number can't do much in the server, preferably the younger people. So we'll leave that as that. Explicit content, always have this to scan messages and media from all members. Don't have this because this just ruins it, ruins the channels, and moderation will just have to be taken further with the roles. Two-factor authentication, you can enable this if you've got it turned on. If you've not got it turned on in your account, you're not going to see this, I don't think. But this is just to say everyone who has the moderator privileges in the server has to have 2FA to be able to execute the moderation in the server. So if you delete a message with this turned on, you have to have 2FA. But yeah, so save the changes as that. Audit logs, this is where all the changes in the server happen. so we can see whether they can filter it as well, so you can see any of these changes happen in the server. You can pretty much see who's done it. Messages you probably can't see, I don't think, but you've got all these things you can see, so you can even see who's pinned messages, who's unpinned messages, integrations, role changes, anything like that. Integrations, here we go. So we've got the Twitch stuff, so you can enable Twitch stuff, which I obviously have got mine connected to my account, so this is why this shows up. They've got the webhooks and the channels followed. Follow channels is basically if someone's got the community enabled, or the setting for the community enabled in the server, they can enable this and basically follow all the channels. Widgets, I don't do anything with this. This is the server ID. Preferably don't show this to anyone. I don't know what this is, but this server will be deleted after edits anyway, so this doesn't necessarily bother me. So I'm not really bothered because this is for this server. Server template, you could create a template, so if you want to give anyone else the server, you can. The stuff that's checked is what they'll get. The stuff that is X'd will not be, so like the members or the bots, server icon, boosts or perks, messages they won't get. So all stuff that you obviously people in this server are going to get, they're not going to get any other in the template because that's based on this server only. So you can call it anything, and like this description is what it's going to be. Then you can generate a link which other people can use. Community. You can enable the community, which is basically where you can enable announcements or anything like that so people can follow. You get most of the stuff is partner related stuff. I haven't got into that yet because I'm not a partner. I look forward to being a partner on Discord, but I don't know how that's going to go. Server boosts. So we've got server boosts here. I'm going to just like hover over it because I'm not going to go through it all, but you get 3 different levels of perks. So you get you get these for two boosts, which is like if you have Nitro, you automatically get 2 boosts, so you can immediately get level 1. 15 boosts is a lot more harder, and 30 boosts is most servers don't get that very easily at all, unless there's a lot of people in the server that want to boost. But overall, that's just something that you can consider with your own server and how you lay stuff out. Members, these are all people you can see in the server. You can also prune members who are inactive for a period of time, for 7 or 30 days. You can also select specific roles as well. You got the crown icon on your account, so if you want to know who's, if you're a moderator and you want to know, and you've got access to this and you want to know who's the owner is, and they're not showing up with this crown on the main screen, you can see here who the owner is. We've got the ranks here, so for example, admin. Obviously, I've not given myself admin, so people with the admin role, mod role, member role will be seen here, just to be able to see who's got that specific role rather than seeing every single role in the server. You can also search by name as well, so you can search, say if I search myself up, obviously I'm the only person server, but if you typed up a start of a name, it may come up here, which means you can see the name of people quite easily and manage their roles that way rather than looking through members or the whole server list. Invites. This is where you can create invite links, preferably have it so it's not expired unless it's specifically you know where it's going. This is customizable. I'll show this at a later date. And bans, people who are banned from the server. Bots, you can use a bot for this, or you can right click on the account, select ban, give the time frame of the messages and then ban them with a reason. This is a nice feature that people like because it's used quite a lot. Kicks as well. Kicks is the only one thing I use, but bans are good as well. And then there's obviously delete server as well. So let's exit out of here and let's actually get into the good juicy parts of this server. So we're going to delete all these things because it's default stuff. Let me just delete all of this and we can start from fresh. So obviously there's no text channel, so it's going to show this. So we're going to right click on any empty space here and add a category. We're going to add it as important or information, your choice. Create the category, and in here right click on the category, select the edit category, permissions, and manage the permissions to so you know who can speak in here. For example, you don't want everyone speaking in here, but you want them to say, so this check the read messages, and voice text channel, so they read the channels. Disable them from sending messages, and read history, yes. For them, if you're going to have only members see this server, then make sure that these are disabled, and add the member role and do this for the member role separately, so that only members can see this. But obviously most of the time people only have a member role because of other things, so yeah. But generally you want to make sure that if you want to create individual links, to disable that one, and to disable that one. Save this, and if anything else in this server, if anything else in the server is mutual, as long as it's disabled in the main settings, you're okay. You don't need to go ahead and disable everything and enable individual things, because it's just not necessary. It's a waste of time, and it's just pointless. So as long as you set the main settings as off, then you don't really have to do anything else. So everyone can't manage messages in the server anyway, so that doesn't even need to be changed. If this is enabled, then you could obviously give them permissions to do that. Disabled, server settings are like that anyway, so you don't need. So yeah, exit out of this. Plus, select the plus icon here. So got the little plus, create channel, select that. Voice, so we got the welcome for the, we're going to create the text channel, so we're going to do welcome. We're then going to do the rules, and I'm going to move the rules above the welcome, just because that's the first thing you want people to see. And now the announcements. So you create that channel. You can't add anything else to this because it's very basic with the text channels. Rules, you don't want anyone seeing anyone typing there, so that's fine. Welcome's the same, but announcements, you can enable mods to talk in here if you wish to, by just selecting the mod icon, the mod name within here, so you can click the plus icon and select the role. With these, because you've set it in the general settings as disabled, it will just be disabled anyway. Moderation, you want them to be able to do this, so you select the check icon, and then obviously they can do this and override the permissions for moderators to be able to do this. If you want them to tag everyone, that's fine, you leave that turned on, but most of the time you don't want to do that. So that's that. This is all done really. So we're going to go to the next one, which is the basics. Right click, select create category. Just do text channel because we don't need a lot. So just type in text because it's text category. Create category. This category, you want to make sure that you edit the category first. Always edit the category so you know what's going on. So here you want people to send messages, read the channels, and read history. Nothing else really. It's not necessary. The voice permissions aren't necessarily needed to be messed with. You don't need to touch this if it's just text, because you're not going to add voice channels. Unless you add voice channels, you can do that, but you know. So exit that. Add one. Just type in general or lounge. General or lounge is the most common ones. Create the category. And something that you can do also, if the permissions are also set, is you can right click on the chat, and you can also clone the channel, which will basically, the permissions will stay the same, but you can change the name. So let's just open images and create kind of chat. So the permissions for these two will be the same. If you want to edit the permissions for the images, which I'm going to do because it's obviously an image chat, is select the edit icon, or not the cog wheel, which is the edit channel. This is obviously for admins if you've got this turned on, depending on the permissions. So click on the cog icon, permissions, and you want people to send the images in here. So files is an image mainly, so you can turn that on. And yeah, so that's pretty much the basics of that. Memes, you can just do the same thing with memes as well, but I'm not going to go into that. So depending on what the community wants, you can add them here. Voice channels I'm going to move to now because these are the basics. So right click, add category, and just do voice. Create the category, and here you're just going to click create category. Go to make sure that you select the voice channel. Don't select the text channel, because this is the default. When you create one, it'll automatically do text channel. just type in general again, as this is just going to be the general area. Create a category, and create chat. And you always want to make sure that the permissions are set. I obviously forgot to change this, so I'm going to here and make sure they can see it. Do this before you create the chat as well, so you know exactly what permissions have gone throughout. I'll go through the permissions on individual chats at a later date. Send messages you can turn on. See history. You don't really need these. You can just keep these mutual because we're going into the voice area. Connect and speak. Nothing else is needed. You can enable this if you want, but it's not necessary because you've turned it on in the settings mainly for this to be enabled. So you can click save changes. Go back to this channel and you can sync the permissions because obviously it's set as that anyway. But you can sync the permissions if it's not synced by the blue icon in the settings. General, everyone can talk in here. Then you can click create another channel, which is going to be music. So if you've got bots, this is where you can add them into the bots channel. For here, just click edit channel, permissions, and in here you want them to not be able to speak, but you want them to be able to do everything else. So disable that. Well, obviously when you get mods or anything like that, if you got a bot role, enable it to talk in here. But you get the gist of that. Disable the invites. Make sure in every chat, if you want to know where the links are going, disable the create invite links, because everyone can create an invite link otherwise, which is not helpful when you keep track of the links and where they're going. AFK, this is what I was talking about earlier on, so just type in AFK or away from keyboard depending on what you want to do. Create channel, edit this, and you want to make sure that they can't speak in here because it's an AFK. Save this. Also disable that so they can't do that. In here, if you go back to the server settings by going to the drop down menu, selecting the server settings, here you can see that if you click on this you've got more text channels. These are all based on what everyone can see. So AFK, that's what it's for, how many minutes you set it to, and you can do that. So we're going to set it to 15 minutes. This is the basics on basically how you lay out the server. I'll go more in depth in a later video on how these are all structured and things like that, and also bots and rules and stuff like that. So rules, you can enter your own rules in here, make sure that no one can type in here, as well as this. This is where you can see, you can also customize the welcome as well, so you know who can type in here and etc, etc, or you can just leave the Discord to do it yourself if you want to leave it basics. The one thing you can also do to customize it a bit is go into the server settings by the drop down menu, go to the roles. By selecting each of the roles you can select the color. So obviously if we select green, save the changes, give myself a role by right clicking on the account and going to roles and hovering over and selecting it by checking it, or you can just click on the name of the person, click the plus icon and do it that way. So if I give myself admin, the colour of the admin role will show up as well as me getting the role. It's the same with mod. If I'm a mod and I remove this one, you get mod. It's the same with everywhere you go. Member, it's the same thing. If there's no role, you're going to show up as just an online or offline depending on your status. So yeah, that's basically the basics on how you set up a server. I'll go more in depth in other videos, so leave a comment below if you want to see more videos like this, or you want to have help. If you want help, then check the Discord server out below the video. I'm not going to advertise this too much, but if you want help, feel free to join my community server, which I want to slowly grow, and I will have it so that you can obviously ask questions based on what the issue is there. Sorry for the background noise as well, but basically that is it really. Nothing extreme within this. So if you want help, check the Discord server in the description of the video. If you want more tutorials, then feel free to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell with leaving a comment for criticism, what you like and dislike. The more uploads I do, the better the channel will be, and I will see you within the next video, I guess. So I will see you then. Goodbye.